Welcome to Bring Women Back to Work podcast, the space where ambition meets possibility. Here we elevate the voices of women returning to the workforce, amplifying the leaders who champion them and challenge the system that hold them back. Each episode brings honest stories, experts' insights, and actionable strategies that empower women to step boldly into their next chapter with confidence, clarity, and community. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement to redesign the workplace for a future where women rise, lead, and thrive. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bring You Back to Work podcast. We created this podcast to build a space for women who have completed the Bring You Back to Work program to share their story and their advice with other women in the community, as well as with women anywhere in the world who are seeking inspiration as they return to work after a career break. In this episode, we are thrilled to have as our guest former Bring You Back to Work participant, Aga Matysek. Aga, welcome and thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you very much for having me, Vanessa. I'm super excited. I will try not to show it so strongly, but I'm really excited. Thank you very much.
So nice. So tell us about yourself and your journey. What prompted you to take a career break?
Yes, so my journey actually to this moment started with two big life transitions. So first, I went on my maternity leave for 2 years when I was living in Poland. And right after it, my husband and I decided to relocate to Switzerland with our daughter, Maya. So I wanted to support her as much as possible through this whole transition here to Switzerland and completely new country, new language, etc. So I stayed at home for another 2 years. So in total, 4 years career break, and of course, right in the middle of the COVID pandemic.
I remember this time because you were one of the first cohort joining, right?
Exactly. So the second cohort, which sounds today like a dinosaur era, right?
So when you decided to return to the professional work, what was your experience like? How did you feel?
I will be super honest with you, and I'm always very honest by telling this story. It was a massive mix of emotions. So when Maya turned 4 and the kindergarten was in the horizon and became to be a reality for me, I started to think about going back. And seeing the rise of remote work made me think, hey, maybe I really can combine being a mom and being a coworker. But the moment I actually started looking at job offers, of course, my imposter syndrome kicked in hard. So being out for those 4 years made me feel really incredibly confident as a mom, of course, but very unsure of my professional skill set. So I really kept asking myself how I could even continue my career here in Switzerland and what is actually my battle plan for the upcoming years.
And how did you find and discover in this transition, bringing back to work? What motivated you to apply to the program with all this imposter syndromes and fear of going back and what to do?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories and aha moments in my life. So I was literally sitting on a playground after a very long night and with very less sleep and scrolling through Instagram. And I'm not ashamed to say it out loud. I needed it that moment. And for the first time ever, and I think the last one probably, this scrolling brought me something life-changing because I saw a Bring One Back to Work post, which popped up, and it spoke directly to my situation. So I saw that it offered a chance to upskill on Salesforce platform. And then I immediately started to think, okay, what it will give it to me. I checked what's the market growth and how many roles and opportunities are emerging for this technology stack. And then I thought, okay, this is it. This is a nice structure, new path for me. I also saw that the whole community around different products and also the Trailhead platform with learnings for free, which sits on my mobile with me on the playground, is so accessible that I got really excited. And yeah, I got accepted into the second cohort.
That's amazing. And what was your journey like as a participant during this time? What did you learn about yourself?
That's a good question. So I really realized that the thing which I really needed that time was not just the technical training and training in a particular platform, but really I needed community that time. So being surrounded by women who shared exactly the same fears and struggles completely reassured me that I'm not the only one with all those thoughts. Yeah. And bring women back to work with this awesome program gave me a very clear, a very structured training path. So I remember before the program, I was constantly thinking, oh, perhaps I should learn another language. Perhaps I should do this. Perhaps I should do that. And then the list is so long in your head and you feel completely overwhelmed. And in the end, you are starting nothing. So it gave me a baseline, gave me a plan and a profound sense of belonging to this group. So I really feel that the Salesforce DNA is all about really community, and the community welcomed me really with open arms.
And what did you learn for yourself? I hear that the confidence came back, having friends or like-minded people in a group or in a community helped. But is there something that you learn about yourself, that you discovered about yourself? Because you entered in a new program, right? With many trainings and so on.
Of course. So I learned that obviously I can multitask between many, many things. And I think Bring Women Back to Work was a really nice entry into what is coming up next. So it gave me this nice transition time between being a mom, being fully focused on your small kid and taking care of it and dedicate your whole day only to your kid, and then going into the direction of work. So it was something, an interim good solution and preparation to smoothly go then into my next role.
And do you have a particular story or a moment during the program that was especially meaningful for you?
Yeah, of course, there are my two favorite situations, which I will always remember. So there was one, it was already almost end of the Salesforce training or the technical part. And I had a 30-minute coaching session with very famous Alexandra Klein, which is an amazing person. And she was mentoring during the second cohort. And I remember her giving me so much power and self-confidence during a 30-minute call that later on I had an interview call with Accenture, and I was so, pumped with positive energy. And I remember her reading every point inside of my CV by saying, hey, Aga, that's awesome. This is something what people need. This is something what the company will need. Yeah. And right after it, I mastered the Accenture interview and landed a part-time remote role as a business analyst. So that was the really meaningful moment. And that was the first one, quite impressive one. But I will always also remember the second moment. I remember you and Florence Micol from Accenture. You were also having a podcast with, it was a video version, nothing to only listen, but also to see. And I remember you two and your kids in the background running. Yeah. And then I understood, hey, you can be amazing woman. You can be the version of Vanessa or the version of Florence, and you can still have kids in the picture, which are a part of you, right? So you don't need to hide them anywhere. They are part of your life. And they can be in the picture of your business work and of what you are doing. And that was also, so
cool.
for me.
It's so cool that you are bringing this up. That's a long time ago. In fact, that was in the pandemic. That's why we did the podcast. And that's why our kids were with us, because it was locked down. And so we decided to do this podcast. And yeah, we didn't had any
any way to bring these kids somewhere else. So the idea was like, okay, so they are part of us and that's totally normal. Let's bring them with us. We had also somebody taking care of them, but obviously they were there on the picture. They were there playing around, and we were doing our job and our conversation. And I think that's the important point here. The important point is if you hide your story, nobody will be able to see it. So that's why it's your responsibility to show who you are. It doesn't matter. So be proud of your story, be proud of your children, be proud of your accomplishment, because you are unique. There is nobody else like you. And I think that we as leaders have this responsibility to show and normalize certain things, to also give the permission to other women to do so, right? And I think this is super important. And thank you for sharing that. I was not expecting that.
Surprise. And it really worked in the way you are explaining it now, because it gave me allowance also to have my kid around. So until today, my daughter is coming with a very important question in the most unexpected moments. But I don't feel stressed about this. This is just a part of my life, which is there. So thanks also to be so transparent during those times. Yeah.
Thank you. And how has participating in Bring Them Back to Work influenced your return to work? I mean, you said that you had this interview with Accenture, you got the job, but was there a skill, a mindset, or a support system that really helped you advance? So I understood the mentorship was very important. Is there anything else that you said, well, this was very important for me to bring to the next level of my career?
Of course, I think that doing the Salesforce training and having the admin certification was also a very clear sign for Accenture that I have the skill set, I have the knowledge, because I feel that a Salesforce certification means a lot. And I also saw it during the interview. So having the focus on completing it, on adding it into CV will be a very meaningful add-on on top of your journey, because it shows your expertise, it shows what you can do. So I feel this helped me a lot to differentiate probably also from multiple other CVs, which were probably in the picture here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you said also that you got the job by Accenture. How long have you been there? For 4 years?
4 years, exactly.
Exactly. And then you finally arrived at Salesforce.
Exactly.
And can you share a bit of this moments and of this experience?
Of course. So just a funny story before it happened. So I had it on my mind when I already started interacting with Salesforce. But I remember there was a time in which we were on some kind of Bring One Back to Work event, and we have a picture together. And then this picture hangs in our Salesforce Zurich office. So I was there before I was even, hired at Salesforce. And every time I saw it during some kind of calls or when I was visiting Salesforce office as Accenture one, I was thinking, I'm here already on the picture. It will be my next step. So of course, it feels amazing now to call ourselves as colleagues from the same company.
Definitely. Manifested that, I put the picture there. Actually, it was not me, but yes, our facility manager put the pictures there, and you already manifested this will be one day my next career step or my next employer.
Exactly. So in the end, it happened. So today I'm a solution engineer supporting customers from health and life science cloud industry. And yeah, I saw so many solution engineers from Salesforce during my whole path at Accenture, because we are, of course, collaborating strongly there. And I was really super excited about the work of understanding challenges from the customer and then translating it into solution. So that was on my mind really strongly, and I'm super happy that I made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm very proud to call you one of my colleagues at work, and that makes me even prouder to see all the seeds that I have planted everywhere. And now I see the harvest coming up in so many different places. And I am very proud to see you all blooming, really. And can you rely on the fact that the skills that you learned at bringing back to work, hard skills, but also soft skills, that helped for your next career advancement?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing was very important was, setting the right direction and going into the direction of Salesforce in the end, because I think I was having on my mind different paths, different ideas. And if you have multiple of them, you cannot have one clear development direction where you are more dedicated to. So I think first thing was to go and develop my skills with Salesforce platform and dedicate my time only there. And the second one was for sure being a part of this community, learning from other ladies, looking how other people are doing things and receive this whole empowerment, because I think that was something what I really needed at that time.
And what advice would you give to other women who are in the program right now or who want to return to work and need some inspiration?
Of course. So I'm every year I'm reflecting a bit on what should be the advice, as I'm a part of Bring Women Back to Work mentors. So it's also a question which is reoccurring to me. And I always want to give something what is super powerful, so other women can remember me as I remember other women's when I'm thinking about my topics or when I'm stressed about something. And I have one recommended battle plan, which could be used or perhaps which will fit for return to work. So at first I would sit down and write out everything you want to learn. So you woman, you dear colleague from the Bring Women to Work, and the list, as I already mentioned, will be really huge because you will be influenced by many things which are happening. AI, improvement of your German, improvement of your Swiss German, right? Something in Salesforce, something there. So list is long. And then filter this list down to what you need to learn to actually get the job. So do some strategic work around the offers and check what is really expected from you and what you actually already have in your CV. And the list gets shorter, right? And then narrow down to what is realistic to achieve in upcoming few months. And then you will be probably left with 2 or 3 priorities. And I hope one of them is AI in Salesforce, right? Of course, you have a free choice, but it should be AI, okay? and then
you are not biased, okay? You are not biased.
No, I'm not, but I'm speaking straight from my heart. And then the final point, which also changed a lot for me, sit down. And of course, that was my situation. You can be in another one, but in my situation, sit down with your partner or with your support system and have a look on all the logistic around how to make those goals physically and mentally possible for you. And that was something what I've done. I also aligned strongly with my husband on my goals. I made him understand my goals. He was also supporting me so strongly from the start. So, Mariusz, if you are listening to it, thank you so much. You are a huge part of my success. So thank you again. Exactly. And this really helped me to have a plan, focus on this plan, because your kid next to you is your precious best thing on your life, but it's not helping you in achieving other priorities. Exactly.
I think you touched a very important point, right? So when you take this kind of decision, it's not just your decision, it's the decision of the family. And it's also the decision of a different support, right? It's different if you stay at home and you do your care work to 100% because you stay at home. But then obviously it's different. If you go back 100%, your husband is working 100%, then it's not about helping you at home. It's about shifting the responsibility on a 50-50 split because you both work and you need to support each other. And I think it's not about, who do what. It's about how we make that happen. And if it's 80%, that's fine. But the communication here is super, super important. And also, counting on a network, right? Counting on schoolmates from the kids or neighbors or family. That's super important. And I think that the other part that it's very important is delegation and not thinking about, because we believe for sure that nobody is doing better than us, the work that we are doing with home, with the children and all of that. But we are really bad in delegating those things. So when we once learn to delegate, when we once become leaders in our private life, we are super leaders in the business, and then we struggle in our personal stories, then we will make it happen. And then there will be a success. Then you will not burn out. Then you will be able to breathe, because the responsibility is split in several parts, and you delegating, let it go and trust, because it will work. Obviously, it will not work at your way. It will not work like you will do, but it works. And I think that this letting it go, delegate and trust and let it go, it's super important. It's super important, especially when you come back to work and you have so many balls to juggle again.
Of course, I will bring back one event more. I will bring more history of Bring Women Back to Work now in this podcast. There was one event which was organized by Accenture and by Bring Women Back to Work. So it was obviously you and Florence, and there was Marco Huwiler from Accenture. Yes. And I think those stories should be and are a powerful part of this whole program, because a man came and started to tell the story how he's organizing with his family, with his wife, etc. And that was then obviously here at home a topic, because I don't know if I was thinking about it that way. So it was not that, I felt I cannot delegate to my husband, but I was not thinking about it before. And he made me think, and then I spoke about it also with my husband. And that was the moment in which we just shared our vision on how to make our both careers work. So I started 60%. I started remotely, so that the start was not so hardcore for me with 100%. But then when joining Salesforce, we also needed to have a very honest discussion about how this will now work, because I'm not home anymore. I'm here and there in the office, right? And I will be back at 5, at 6. So now it's really a well-working machine where we are really sharing 50-50. And I'm not even bothering with thinking if I could do something better or worse than my husband. He's better in so many things than me, I need to be honest. So to all the women, try it out. So that was very important to discuss this and to make it clear in the family.
Yeah, and thank you for this thought and also for this example. That's super important. And the other question that I have for you, is there a mantra or a message that resonates with you that you wish to leave with our community? And especially for a woman that are listening to this podcast and wants to go back and still struggling. What do you say to her?
Yes. So I think I was really blessed with incredible women supporting me through my whole career. So I could, tell you the whole list of great mentors in my professional life. But I have one ultimate mantra, which comes from Julia Kickmunter from Accenture. She was my people lead there. And I once had a really good idea, but I was really nervous to go to the leadership and to present it. And she looked at me. We were working constantly remotely, obviously, because she's from Germany. So she looked at me through the camera and asked a really simple question. What is the worst that can happen if you try? And this question stays with me every single time I feel stress or I feel stuck or self-doubting some of my ideas, because if I answer myself to these questions, it is always pushing me forward and always relieves me from any second thoughts. Yeah. So for every woman listening to this nice podcast, if you are seeing a great job offer and if you are hesitating to send your CV there, just ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen if you try? And just go for it.
Thank you. That's a good one. And also programs like Bring Them Back to Work help you as well, right? To reskill, to think differently, to have new impulse, to have, new inspiration. Now we are not only with Salesforce, we expanded in the meantime with Workday, with AWS. So there are so many things with AI. There will be a special training on AI just for the Bring Them Back to Work community with certification. So there are so many things that you can do in the program. And you already said, right, the community spirit is there. Nobody is alone. And once you join the Bring Them Back to Work team, you will forever belong to the Bring Them Back to Work team.
Exactly. And those friendships, they will last for so long. So I have my neighbors who's also in the Bring One Back to Work. So Frauke, greetings to you. So I remember times sitting on the playground with our kids and exchanging on trailheads, on badges which we have, etc. So, and the whole community, we are in contact on WhatsApp, we are meeting. So that's an amazing group. Be a part of it because it's really worth joining it for your life.
Thank you so much, Aga. Thank you so much for this insightful podcast, for all the sincerely and nice stories around Bringing Them Back to Work and your experience. And thank you for joining and for inspiring so many women here in the podcast.
Thank you for having me here, Vanessa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.